Right now, and new at 6, spotting a killer.
There's a specific pathway of violence that all of these offenders go through.
A former FBI agent reveals what many school districts are not doing that could prevent school shootings, plus helping kids recover.
I thought at the beginning that this was it was all a drill. It was just a drill until I saw my teacher dead on the floor.
How parents and teachers can help teens come to terms with what happened when tragedy strikes, and remembering the victims. How the community is honoring the students and staff killed in their classrooms.
This is K2 News at 6 on your side.
Disturbing new video emerging tonight showing school shooting suspect Nicholas Cruz. It is cell phone video recorded earlier by a concerned neighbor. Spotting Cruz in his backyard, apparently doing shooting practice with a BB gun. The 19-year-old, who police say confessed to the killings, is on suicide watch right now, spending his second night behind bars. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Deborah Knapp.
And I'm Steve Dunn. Thank you for being with us tonight. In the past few hours, we have learned new details about the gunman Nicholas Cruz. But officials are not releasing any new information about why he did this. Now, Cruz is being held without bail after being charged with 17 counts of murder. Police say he fired into 5 classrooms, then tried to escape by blending in with fleeing students. Then he went to a Subway and McDonald's before investigators tracked him down and took him into custody.
We have live team coverage tonight. ABC's Stephanie Ramos is live in Parkland with reaction from the community.
K2's Kelly Azer talked to people who have experienced school shootings firsthand and have some advice on how to move forward.
Plus, Reed Andrews focused on the gun debate and got reaction from both sides of the issue.
We begin, though, with K2's Joe Douglas, who talked with a former chief of the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit. And, Joe, he says many schools are not doing what it takes to help prevent school shootings.
Steve, a spokeswoman for Oregon's Department of Education here tells me most districts have a threat assessment team of some kind in place that takes action in response to concerning behavior. But she also admits school employees are not required to be trained to recognize behavior patterns that may possibly predict a school shooter.
This stuff just doesn't just happen. There's no snap effect here. There's a lot of myths out there.
Greg Vecchi is a retired FBI agent who once led the Bureau's Behavioral Science Unit. He's now an assistant professor of criminal justice at Missouri Western State University, where he studied how to better prevent school and workplace shootings.
You always hear that term, if you see something, say something. Well, that's nice, but it doesn't mean anything.
Greg says there's a specific pathway to violence that all school shooters go through, and it starts with a grievance.
The grievance is so bad that they can't cope with it or deal with it, and they don't feel that anyone will help them with it. So then they think, okay, I'm going to take matters in my own hands. They go to the second step, which is the ideation. So they're thinking, okay, this is so bad that someone needs to die. And then they start to research and plan. Well, they go on the internet. They go on Facebook. They go on YouTube. They look at previous cases. Preparation is trying to get a hold of the gun, ammunition, training, what they're going to do in the school.
Greg says the next step is when they actually launch the attack.
And so the problem with these cases is that all that has happened probably over a period of months and sometimes years.
To get ahead of the problem, Greg says people who know the student, teachers, coaches, parents, and others should be trained to pay attention to what he calls their baseline or normal behavior.
And then look at anomalies and things that are different from his baseline. Maybe he talks to his friends about, that he just wishes Mr. Jones was dead, or he starts bringing in gun magazines, things that are different than what he usually does.
He also says districts should have someone trained to analyze the behavior and decide whether it's a potential threat.
Then you have a good chance to identify a person of interest, right? A person that appears to be having a problem.
Greg says if you then sit down with the student and address their grievance, you have a good chance of preventing violence. Oregon's Department of Education says it does have a staff member here who helps districts with threat assessment, school safety, and addressing trauma. Live in Salem, Joe Douglas, K2 News.
All right, Joe, thank you. And as Joe just mentioned, one of the ways to prevent school shootings is to identify people who might be a threat before they actually act out. And in Oregon, there's a tip line for doing just that. We're putting the number on your screen. It's 844-472-3367. Students especially should jot this down. You're the eyes and ears for school safety, and you should call if a classmate is threatening violence, bullying, or suicide. The most urgent tips go to Oregon State Police.
In the event of a very severe tip or a tip that implies violence or impending violence, we pass that tip back out to our local partners, and they're going to work with county mental health and their threat assessment programs that they have locally, and they're going to look to see if that individual is on that pathway towards violence and take steps to interrupt that pathway.
The tip line has been around since January of last year. So far, 800 schools in Oregon have opted in, but 400 others have yet to sign on. We have to start somewhere. Those are the words of a local gun owner who thinks some weapons should be banned to prevent mass shootings.
K2's Reed Andrews is live for us in Southeast Portland. Reed, that gun owner says this latest shooting breaking point.
Well, Deb, that's right. After seeing the images from Parkland, Florida, of the students with their hands raised as police looked for an active shooter, that made him lead an active campaign for a ban on those semi-automatic weapons, while other gun owners that I talked to say that that is not the answer. Children walking out of a Florida high school with their hands held up in the air as police search for the shooter.
If we don't protect each other, we're a lost society.
17 people died in the shooting. Police say the teenager responsible used an AR-15 style rifle. Donna Hamming says she doesn't think banning that type of gun would solve the problem.
Then before long it'll be something else, and before long we'll be down to where we'll have no firearms and our Second Amendment rights will be gone.
And she's conflicted on whether mental illness should be a factor and whether someone can have access to guns.
That's kind of an invasion of privacy to have a mental evaluation before someone can purchase an AR-15.
Sean Colby looks back nostalgically at these photos of growing up in the 70s and going hunting with his dad and uncle.
A little bit of scared because you don't want to be stupid. You always have to remember a gun is dangerous.
The lifelong gun owner, though, reached a breaking point after seeing the tragedy in Florida.
I just can't see anymore. I love America. I love Oregon. I'm proud to be who I am. But I'm sad to see this.
And in Colby's eyes, preventing mass shootings is clear-cut. Ban the weapons that are often used in them.
I can't say it's totally because of this gun. We have other issues in this country, but we have to start somewhere. And I think we start with people don't need AR-15s and they don't need AK-47s.
The gun owners agree on one thing, and that is that schools throughout the Pacific Northwest need to do more for security measures to make sure that students there are staying safe. We're live in Southeast Portland. Reed Andrews, K2 News.
All right, Reed, thank you. And just hours ago, a push to ban bump stocks in Washington moved forward. That proposal passed a House committee today and now moves to the full House. But bills to raise the minimum age to buy assault weapons to 21 and to have enhanced background checks for anyone buying assault weapons have languished. They're likely dead for the session. Sponsors of the bills point out the shooter in Florida was only 19 and bought the weapons legally. Opponents, though, say this case is a mental health issue, not a gun issue.
When it comes to mental health, the Pacific Northwest has something Florida does not. Washington has passed a bill that allows people to ask a judge to take guns away from loved ones with a mental health issue, diagnosed or not. Oregon is considering a similar bill right now. It's called the Extreme Risk Protection Act. A couple dozen of them have been ordered in King County, but critics say the law is not foolproof. Police agencies aren't required to actively go out and retrieve guns. A judge has ordered to be taken away. And hundreds of people are paying tribute to the victims tonight. This video was taken just hours ago from a vigil in Parkland, Florida. And we're learning more about the 17 people killed in the attack. Most of them are kids, and the youngest just 14. Among the dead, one teacher and two staff members from Stoneman Douglas High.
Let's go live now to K2 Stephanie Ramos in Parkland, Florida tonight. And Stephanie, you've spent the entire day there. How is the community responding to this terrible loss?
Steve, the community is devastated. We've seen people who are angry emotional, not knowing where to turn. And a lot of these people, whether friends, family, strangers, they're coming together to try and find strength from somewhere, from anywhere. And you're looking at that video from today. There was a vigil held tonight. A lot of people from the community and from outside the area coming together to remember those individuals who lost their lives at school. So again, a very somber time for this community. And what we have heard a lot of from people here is people saying enough is enough. We've seen these tragedies time and time and again, and a lot of people saying something has got to change. But of course, overall, a somber tone here in Parkland, Florida tonight.
Stephanie, did you have a chance to talk to any of the survivors or parents?
I did. Actually, I spoke with a young lady. Her name is Lexi. She's a junior here at the high school. And as you can imagine, she was still very shaken up. And she was brave enough to speak with us. She wanted to share her story. She tells me that she was in one of the classrooms at the school when the gunman entered the school and started shooting down the hallway. At first she thought it was a drill, she tells us, but when the glass started shattering on the classroom door, that's when she knew this was serious. She took cover, she ducked. She says that there were about 30 other kids in the classroom with her, including the teacher. She tells me that 5 of her friends did not survive. They did not make it. She herself was injured and was taken to the hospital. She hit her knee pretty badly and says she was suffering from an anxiety attack, but she was obviously later released. But it was tough listening to her recount those moments. She says time just froze and she couldn't believe what she was seeing. She says eventually at some point police came into the classroom, got her and the rest of the students out of there, but she was walking over bodies that were laying across the hallways and just trying to get out of there and trying to get to safety and trying to get to her family, who was also trying to reach her on her cell phone. So just one of many stories that we've heard here throughout the day from survivors who say that their lives have changed forever. Back over to you.
That is for sure. Stephanie, thank you. Stephanie Ramos, live for us in Parkland. A lot of healing for that community to do. Well,
many students say they initially thought the shooting was a drill, in part because of how well the teachers and school staff responded. One senior says a group of students was unknowingly running toward the gunman when a janitor stopped them.
The janitor said, guys, you can't go this way, go this way. And they funneled us all into Chef Kurth's culinary cooking classroom, about like 40 students, I'd say, if not more. And because of those heroic actions and the actions that she took, just a split-second decision in 30 seconds, she saved my life and she saved easily 40 others there.
Local schools train for emergencies too, both staff and students, and have a lot of other security measures in place. The director of security for Portland Public Schools says there are training drills at every school in the fall and spring. The staff does online training as well. Not every school has identical security options. Some keep their doors locked all the time.
If we have people who we want to keep out and screen coming in, I think it's a great ability to have. And I know the district, given the budgets, doing the best they can to have that as an option.
Every high school does have an armed Portland police resource officer who also serves surrounding schools.
Our coverage of the deadly school shooting continues after the break.
Coming up, what you can do to help your kids if they're struggling to cope with tragedies like this one.
And school shootings leave a lasting effect on students and even people who weren't involved. The conversation you should be having with your students, coming up.
At Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries, we know everyone has their favorite spot. It's the President's Day sale. Friday through Monday only, you can save 25% store-wide. Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. Live life comfortably.
Have you ever had car trouble in a place like this?
Yes, and it was like the worst experience of my life. When I get into my car, I want to know it's going to get me from point A to point B.
Well, then I have some good news. Chevy's the only brand to receive J.D. Power Dependability Awards for cars, trucks, and SUVs 2 years in a row.
Get 0% financing for 60 months or $2,250 total cash allowance on this Equinox LT when you finance with GM Financial. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
This Friday and Saturday, Rushmore Benjamin's back into your pocket with President's Day deals at Discount Tire. Get a $100 Visa prepaid card when you buy select sets of tires and another $100 Visa prepaid card when you buy any set of wheels. Save even more Lincolns when you use your Discount Tire credit card. And get up to $320 in rebates on select tire and wheel packages. Discount Tire, where America saves on tires.
Marian's is Oregon's largest flooring warehouse. We buy carpet, hardwood flooring, and area rugs by the truckload. All the top brands, including Karastan, and a low, low price guarantee. Ask about our 3-room deal for only $749. Hurry in.
If you told me a year ago where I'd be right now, I would have said you were crazy. But so began the year of me. I discovered the true meaning of paperless discounts and the indescribable rush of saving drivers an average of $620.
Why does fear feel so good?
I fell in love 3 times. Once with a woman, once with a country, and finally, with myself.
So do you have anything to declare or not?
Isn't that what I'm doing?
It's the Standard TV and Appliance 3-day sale going on now. Save on hundreds of appliances, mattresses, and 4K Ultra HD TV.
Get an LG front-load washer with steam for only $634. A Whirlpool stainless steel dishwasher for just $499. Or a Samsung stainless steel French door refrigerator, now only $14.99. Plus, get a Beauty Rest Queen mattress for only $3.99.
Hurry, the 3-day sale ends soon. Standard TV and Appliance.
I heard the gunshots and I've heard the shooter walk down the hallway shooting more kids. I've heard a young man crying for his mother dying.
When those kids return to school, extra counselors will be on hand to help them deal with the grief and the anxiety from that shooting.
Incidents like the one in Florida spotlight the critical role of counselors in keeping schools safe. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, half of all people who suffer from a mental health disorder are diagnosed by the age of 14. That's why it's critical to spot the signs early. But counselors say entire communities need to be on the lookout.
How do we get the teachers on board to help support and encourage the students as well? How do we get the parents involved? How do we get other family members involved? So we just start to grow our team.
School counselors don't have the time or resources to give students all the help they need, but they're typically a point of first contact for kids with emotional issues.
If your teens need to talk but have a hard time opening up, there are some options. They can call the Oregon Youth Line, 1-877-968-8491. They can text Teen to Teen, 839-863. They can even chat live with mental health professionals at OregonYouthLine.org. If you'd like to pass this information along to them, you can find it all right on our website, KATU.com.
Images pouring in from Florida are triggering memories of June 10th, 2014 for some local students, faculty, and first responders. That was the day a student at Reynolds High School opened fire on campus, killing one student.
And those memories will certainly never go away. K2's Kelly Ozer is live in Troutdale now. And Kelly, you talked to one of the first responders who was at Reynolds that day?
That's exactly right. And it's been almost 4 years, and that first responder tells me those memories never go away. Now, Reynolds High School has made some changes and has tried to make it easier for students to go back to school and also help the community heal. But yesterday, all of those terrifying memories came flooding back as they saw footage of the shooting in Florida. June Vining with the Trauma Intervention Program was at Reynolds the day of the shooting, helping reunite students and their parents. She says the images of kids running from the Florida high school with their hands above their heads took her right back to Reynolds. She tells me it's a day that will never leave her mind, and while she wasn't in the school at the time of the shooting, she says it left a lasting impression on her and much of the community. Almost 4 years later, and the community around Reynolds is still healing. Vining tells me that it will be a long road ahead for everyone involved in yesterday's yesterday's shooting, from just trying to wrap their heads around what happened to returning to school after a shooting and trying to get back to a normal life. She says it's difficult for anyone connected, but she says even those who are not directly involved can still be affected.
Making sure you open the door, that it's okay for them to talk about how they feel and knowing what to say. And if you can't have that conversation with them, I would say get some help so you can at least open the door.
She says she expects the Florida high school will likely have to make some changes before students head back to class, much like they did here at Reynolds High School. Vining also says talking to students openly about school shootings can show kids that they have a safe place to talk in case they ever have any concerns at school. Law enforcement experts tell us that opening those lines of communication can be just what's needed to prevent anything like this from happening again. We're live in Troutdale. Kelly Osler, K2 News.
Kelly, thank you. And we have a group of people in the newsroom monitoring the wires for new information about the deadly school shooting. We'll let you know as soon as anything new comes down. When we're not on the air, you can get the latest updates on our website at KATU.com.
Let's go to meteorologist Dave Selesky. It's dry now. We emphasize the now part.
Yeah, exactly. About the next few hours before the next round of rain from the next weather maker comes online. 47 the current temperature at this time. Let's look at radar. And there is the next system dropping on in, already up along the western Washington coastline, moving onshore into parts of the northern Oregon coastline, just right there at the mouth of the Columbia. This is the next weather maker, so dry now, but that rain developing between now and later on this evening. Now, the rainfall totals last 24 hours been pretty light across the area. Out of PDX, it's 0.09 of an inch, 0.03 in Gresham, and 0.07 of an inch out in the Troutdale area. We'll advance the map. We do have a winter storm watch now going up for tonight and going through, looks like at this time, all the way through Sunday until 7 a.m. for the Oregon and also for the Washington Cascade. That's been uprated from a winter storm watch, now it's winter weather advisory rather, to a winter storm watch, as this next system, pretty powerful system, first of several, moves online with lots of rain down here and really a lot of snow coming to the Cascades. Here we are tomorrow morning at 7. We have rain for the valley and rain, of course, for the Portland and Vancouver area. Snow coming down in the Cascades and a lot of it throughout the entire day tomorrow. Skiers and snowboarders, a fantastic weekend coming up for you heading up into the mountains. Rain showers again going into Friday evening. The next system right here slides on in beginning on Saturday morning. More rain for the valley. High temperatures on Saturday are going to be in the low 50s, but that snow level in the Cascades right around 2,000 to 2,500 feet. Again, plenty of snow coming down here. And then behind this system, a much colder air mass begins to arrive, and that takes us through about Sunday at 6 p.m. And the question is right now, will that cold air mass right here coming in out of the north meet up with the residual moisture up over the Pacific Northwest? And it looks like right now it's going to be really close. I think that the cold air is going to be arriving a little bit late and the moisture is going to be out of here a little bit early. So chance of seeing some sticking snow on the valley floor, other than maybe a skiff or two, is going to be pretty slight. I think a better chance of seeing a lot of snow for the Cascades and perhaps the Coast Range, not so much for the Willamette Valley late Sunday going into Monday. So for tonight, 39 for the overnight low, 50 for your high temperature. But look at those high temperatures dropping off by Sunday going into next week. And we will keep an eye on Sunday with the potential for low elevation snow, certainly at 1,000 feet. Question is right now, will it be any lower than that? We'll let you know later on.
Okay, Dave, thank you.
The technology that some say could have prevented the deadly Amtrak derailment in December should be on all locomotives by the end of the year. Coming up tonight, what Amtrak says will happen if it's not.
Plus, an update to an important recall all pet owners need to know about. The Northwest connection to a huge dog food recall affecting animals everywhere.
K2 Weather is brought to you by A.
What's your dream for your ideal outdoor space?
A beautiful landscape.
My dream outdoor kitchen?
The 71st Annual Portland Spring Home and Garden Show can make it happen. Meet with hundreds of professionals in person and find the right match for your outdoor project. Plus, be inspired by 12 fabulous showcase gardens. Bring your photos and ideas and take the first step to creating the outdoor area you've always wanted. Portland's only Spring Home and Garden Show, February 22nd through the 25th at the Expo Center. Sponsored by Mercedes-Benz of Portland and Mercedes-Benz of Beaverton.
Legendary toughness, cutting-edge tech, and now big savings on Ford F-150, Motor Trend's 2018 Truck of the Year. Get $10,500 in total value on a feature-packed F-150. That's $10,500 in total value, only at your local Ford store.
I just picked up the cake for the baby shower. Yay!
You know she's having a boy, right?
Oh boy.
Buick now has an SUV for that. Introducing the Buick Encore.
I knew I could trust you guys with the cake.
No problem. That was close.
One of 3 luxury SUVs from the new Buick. Get this low-mileage lease on this 2018 Encore for around $199 per month. Or get $3,200 purchase allowance on every 2018 Encore Preferred.
I grew up in a close Latino community in Rockwood. My parents had almost no education. Thanks to Legacy, I was the first woman in my family to get a college degree. The YES program really opened doors and made me the nurse that I am today. I'm blessed. I love being part of the birth experience. Hopefully, my story can be an inspiration to others. I am Alejandrina, and this is my legacy.
Legacy Health. Our legacy is yours. At Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries, we know everyone has their favorite spot. It's the President's Day sale. Friday through Monday only. You can save 25% store-wide. Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. Live life comfortably.
Legendary toughness, cutting-edge tech, and now big savings on Ford F-150 Motor Trend's 2018 Truck of the Year. Get $10,500 in total value on a feature-packed F-150. That's $10,500 in total value, only at your local Ford store.
Ever feel like you're being watched? Cameras are getting smaller and easier to hide. K2 News talks to a counter-espionage expert who shows you how to spot a spy in your room. Tonight at 11, only on K2 News.
Well, the feds are investigating a Tukwila-based raw pet food company after a series of complaints about salmonella and listeria in some of its products.
As K2's Steve McCarran reports now, the company has issued several voluntary recalls since the fall of 2016. The most recent was just this past weekend.
Like most pet owners, Amanda Gonzalez has done her homework before deciding what to feed her dog Spiegel.
Should I make sure that whatever I'm feeding them has no recalls and it's natural ingredients and healthy? And
she was surprised to hear dogs, just like humans, can get sick from exposure to salmonella. The Food and Drug Administration recently launched an investigation into Darwin's natural pet products after finding a pattern of salmonella and listeria contamination in some of its raw pet food products. The agency says it investigated 6 complaints of illness and death, including a kitten who died from a severe salmonella infection.
that's right over there.
Veterinarian Megan Harmon says it's rare for pets to become ill from the bacteria, but if your pet shows signs of weakness or shock, becomes lethargic, starts to vomit, and has significant watery diarrhea that may or may not become bloody, you should seek help to have them tested.
And getting them seen right away is going to be the most important thing.
Darwin ships its products directly to its customers and has already reached out to those who might be affected. The company says it recently underwent a full review of its pathogen control process and, out of an abundance of caution, increased the amount of treatment it adds to all of its food to kill bad bacteria. It also recommends owners of pets with weakened or undeveloped immune systems to cook the food lightly to help eliminate risks.
That was Steve McCarran reporting. The FDA says if you bought some of the recalled pet food, you should throw it away. You can find all this information at KATU.com.
More news is just minutes away. Teacher resigns.
I was shocked and surprised that it happened.
How investigators say they caught a Centennial High School employee in an online relationship with a student. Plus, hidden health concerns.
There are real health risks, coming from breathing, the constituents.
The common thing found under many homes that experts say could cause cancer. And life after arrest.
And the next morning I got bailed out. My house was cleaned out, completely cleaned out.
How one man says getting arrested for drugs helped him beat his addiction to opioids. It's all just minutes away.